Let's talk about social Darwinism. What is social Darwinism? How did the business leaders use it to justify their privileged status? First of all, we need to understand a little bit about Darwinism. The wealthy people didn't want to be seen as bad guys, so they used modern science to try to justify themselves as captains of industry. They wanted to justify their cutthroat business actions through social Darwinism. They wanted to argue that they were simply the fittest, and through survival of the fittest, they should be able to keep whatever they earned. Now, we're getting into science. We're not talking about science versus religion. We're talking about science here. Darwin argued that the process of natural selection caused beneficial adaptations. In other words, those organisms that were best suited to succeed in a given environment would pass on their successful genes. This denied special creation. This is a fundamental idea. An idea of fundamentalist creationism. We call it intelligent design these days. Just a brief note, while natural selection is not universally accepted anymore, the idea of evolution is. And it needs to be understood as a scientific idea, not an idea of religion. Some people began to apply this theory to human society, which is why we study this. Those people that were successful, according to this idea, must somehow be genetically superior to those that were unsuccessful. And if life is a game, then how you keep score is by counting how much money you have. So the wealthy naturally believed that they were genetically superior to those that were not wealthy. Well, wouldn't you know it? The people that tended to be wealthy were white European men. So these white European men assumed that they were superior to everybody else genetically. And they were entitled to all of their success and all of their money because they were better than everybody else. So they were captains of industry. There's a problem with this theory. It ignores all the other social, cultural, and political conditions that lead somebody to becoming wealthy or poor. For example, the average African American is not less intelligent than the average white man in 1890, but the African American was subjected to segregation laws, bad schools with bad teachers, less opportunities to go to college, banks that wouldn't give them loans to start a business. They had no voting rights because of Jim Crow, and if they stepped out of line, the KKK and other white supremacy organizations would lynch them. Social Darwinism ignores all of these other social and cultural and political effects and facts. In other words, it's like Cowboys coach Barry Switzer once said, some people are born on third base and think they go through life hitting a triple. Does this mean that some people are not more gifted than others, that some work harder than others, or that those people are not entitled to the success that they have? Absolutely not. But what it does mean is that there are many factors that go into a person's success, not just their individual effort or genetics, and that should be factored into the account as well. And what's evident is that those captains of industry felt entitled to their success, and they constantly lobbied the government. They wanted the government to protect them against labor unions. Well, that doesn't seem like their own individual efforts to me. They wanted the government to protect them with tariffs against foreign competition. Well, if they're talking about survival of the fittest, doesn't it make sense that these businesses should not have protection against foreign competition? They asked the government to give money to them to subsidize railroads. And if they're so confident in their own abilities, why do they need the government to protect them? So for these people that were all about laissez-faire capitalism, keep your hands off my money, keep your hands off my profits, seems like they're asking the government to do an awful lot for them.